The next person we'll be interviewing is myself, Chrisanne Humphrey, and my partner, Leroy Lewis. We are going to be telling a little bit of our story of our journey to Canada, which is kind of similar, and us being here at the same time but not knowing each other. So I hope you enjoy.
Hey babe, sorry I'm late. Service call took a bit longer than expected.
It's okay. I already ordered for us.
Okay, perfect.
All right.
Yeah.
How's work today?
Work today was busy.
Busy?
Yeah. I had a few service calls to deal with and installs and stuff, so yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So how was yours?
It was all right. I
Yeah.
guess, the kids homeschooling and stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, today I was doing a service call today and I was just like sitting there, I was just thinking about like, you know, thinking about 17 years me and you've been together. Oh,
Hi,
hello.
thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you. A cappuccino.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, as I was saying, it's like, sitting back thinking of like 17 years me and you been together and just thinking about, you know, my journey leaving back home and then coming here and then, you know, doing all these other things in my life and as like thinking about, growing up in the Caribbean, right? Coming here, and, like my life there.
It's interesting how we have similar similar upbringing.
Yeah.
Right. Sure, thank you.
Thank you.
Isn't it funny how I think is it July of 1995?
Mm-hmm.
I came to Canada
Yeah, it's
and
around.
you came
Yeah, it's around the same time I came here too.
same time?
Yeah,
July,
1995. I think it was June.
June 1995?
Yeah.
I think
But
I came it was July 1995.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But the funny thing is how we were told that we were coming to Canada. I was told I was coming on vacation
Yeah.
to see my mom because obviously my mom left me when I was around 2 years old. So I had no recollection of what she looked like. So they're like, yeah, you're going on vacation. So you're thinking you're going on vacation, not knowing that you're not gonna be returning to your normal life or where you grew up.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, for me, it's a bit different. Like even thinking about it, I'm like, for me, it's a little bit different. Like, I think coming to Canada for me
Mm-hmm.
was a little bit of an escape from where I was.
Oh, okay.
Right. For me, it's just thinking about it. It's just,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, you were happy to leave, I guess, right?
like for me, yeah, I was happy to leave
Yeah.
because, growing up, there wasn't easy for us because we live, like, again, I live with my dad in the country and then with my auntie. Where the heck was that? I want to sit down in Calder, but
Yeah.
can't quote me on that. But it's down in Calder, and then that wasn't that wasn't easy. Living with them,
Yeah.
that wasn't easy, and it was difficult. So for me and my brother, it was, I think, coming to Canada was like,
Were you guys told the same story? Like you're coming on vacation? You guys were told the same story too?
I think we was told the same story, but for us, again, we're young. I don't even think we think about it. I think when we came to the airport, they went through immigration. They're like, "Oh, do you come here? We're coming to see our mom, and we're coming to visit her because we're off from school, something like that." I
Yeah.
think that's why we went, and then
I guess the reason why well, just looking back, being more mature and an adult, you figured, okay, why would they lie and say you're coming on vacation? I guess they're assuming you're going through immigration, Kids speak so much.
yeah,
So in order for them to, just make it simple, just say you're coming on vacation, right?
yeah, as like again, that's if you tell kids everything, then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, well, I'm gonna go do this with my mom or dad." So
They don't have no filter.
right.
They're very honest.
Well, we have kids now, so you definitely know they don't have filters.
Yeah.
But again, like for me, my brother was definitely coming from the Caribbean was definitely better coming here. But again, coming here wasn't any easier.
I know.
So right, so growing up in it's where we lived first in I want to say Jane and Finch
Toronto.
in Toronto, and then we moved over to Eglinton, and then we moved up to Morningside and was it Morningside and Ellesmere. My mom bought a townhouse up there at that time.
Yeah.
And then we was living up there, and then my cousin them lived down the road from that too. So well, it was challenging living here. Like again,
Interesting.
going back to like living there, going to school here, and going to school, coming out of school, and realizing one of the crazy part about that, even thinking about it today too, was like for me, I lived in this country for how many years, and then I found out, thinking about that, I didn't even have my papers to even be in this country.
So you were here illegal?
I didn't call
Or
it
were you
illegal. There's like,
landed?
well, as far as I knew, all my stuff was in the system being worked on, but it never got pushed. And even some of those things I'm thinking about, I'm like, what the hell? Right. So, there's a lot of memories today. I was just thinking about it. And one of that was like, and there's one person I'll tell you about this, my sister's dad. But I give a bit of credit to him again, because he's the one that told me. So I will always give that credit to him, even regardless how I feel about him. But I always give him that credit. If it wasn't for him, me and you probably wouldn't be having this conversation right now. Right? I don't know where I would have been if I'd have had to get married to somebody else. I would have to be back home. I don't know. But if it wasn't for him, this is why I'm here today, and I could do all the things I'm doing right now and all the things I'm planning to do. So if it wasn't for him, so it worked out for me.
Well, that's interesting. Well, I could say like my upbringing, growing up with my grandmother, my aunt, and my cousin, we were like twins. They dressed us like twins all the time. Life was, to me, it was awesome. It was great. I mean, my dad lives in the Caribbean still, and it's weird how I didn't grow up with my parents in a household.
Yeah.
It was just my grandmother, my aunt, and my cousin. I saw my dad on the weekends, but I didn't really know him on a personal level.
Yeah.
Which you kind of reminisce, you're like, okay, we're together, we have kids, our kids know us on a personal level, but I didn't have that relationship with my parents,
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think I told this already too. Even like when me and you just start dating, we had our first son, Nathaniel. I'm like, I made it like that was a goal for me. Was like my kids, and that's even thinking about that get me a bit teary. But
I know.
for me, my kids had to grow up with me because one, I grew up with my father. I kind of grew up living with my father, and we got sent to our auntie's house. So for me, my biggest thing was make sure my kids know who their father is and grow up with their father. Again,
well, not only their father, I think both parents play a role
both parents in the household,
right?
But for me, it's just like I want to make sure I'm there in their life every day. Again, I'm busy. I work full time. I run the business. I do all this thing, but I want to make sure that my kids, I'm home every day. My kids see me come home. They know when I get up where I'm going. For me, that was like, I made that was like this decision what I made when I was like when we had our first kid, I was like, that's gonna be something that my kids need to see
Mm-hmm.
that regardless of what's happening in their life, both parents are there and both parents are in their life every day. And dad's here and out. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter come the good, the bad, the ugly, it's dad's there because life don't go straight. Life goes
Yeah.
something goes in a curveball, something goes where it needs to go, but that was
So
one.
do you feel like you wish that you grew up with your mom and your dad? Do you think that would have made a difference, or do you feel like okay, whatever happened in your past, that is what shaped you to be the person you are today, and you don't regret anything?
I wouldn't say I regret. I would
Because for
say
me, go ahead.
you no, go ahead, go ahead.
No, because I guess for me, I feel like most kids long for their parents' love, right?
Hmm.
That affection, being there for them on an emotional, intellectual level, on all areas in your
Yeah,
life. But for me, I just have to come with groups like, I don't have a relationship with neither my mom, neither my dad. I came up here, my mom brought me up here, but we didn't have a good relationship. She was very mean.
yeah,
And I'm not saying it to bash my mother, but it's hard when someone brings you here and you're like, okay, this is your mother, we're gonna have a bond, and that bond that you're looking for, you never got it,
yeah,
you know? So it's like an empty space, and just reflecting on life, you realize that empty space that your parents are supposed to fill as a child, you now as a teenager, you're now looking outside for that void to be filled.
yeah.
But then you don't realize that that void, you have to now fill that for yourself and give yourself love and show yourself love and not look for that in other people because it's not going to work and you're never going to be happy.
Yeah, for me in that sense where like I come here, left the Caribbean and come here,
Hmm.
and yeah, as I said, life wasn't easy here.
Yeah.
But again, for me, I think around I want to say probably I was just going to high school, so around 14, I kind of transitioned to fill my well, if we use the word void. I think
Hmm.
for me it was like because again I grew up in Scarborough, so
Yeah.
for me I went into music to get away from trouble.
Mm,
Like
that's interesting.
use music as like a like learn to DJ, learn to mix music and stuff like that. I use that as an escape to get away from hanging out with the wrong crowds, getting into trouble. My brother was the opposite to that.
Do you think that puts you in a, how do you say it? You know, they have a saying from Bob Marley, when the music hits you, you feel no pain. So do you feel like that music filled that pain
I
in a sense where it's like that's your hobby, but you're also, it puts you in a zone where it's like you forget about everything
I
else, all your issues, because it's funny how you say that. I feel like if I enjoyed music and I danced in school, and I also did dancing and one of the dance studios that my mom worked at. So I felt like if I didn't have music, I don't think I'll be here today. I don't know how to put it, but with all the that you see and you had to deal with, that helped me to stay sane in
yeah.
a sense.
Well, music did the same for me.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It did the same for me, but also for me was like the other side to it was like okay, when I'm playing music,
Mm-hmm.
you know, nothing else around me bothers me,
Mm,
right? Because music, while I'm playing music, it's an arts and a craft, and it's like
yeah.
there's a bit of focus to doing it. So it kind of keeps me if I'm playing music and I'm scratching or I'm doing what I'm doing,
Yeah.
that's what I'm focusing on that
So
moment.
it
It it
puts you in a zone.
it's a zone, not a trance, but a zone for
A
me,
zone, probably
right?
like a high vibrational
Yeah,
zone where I guess the negativity is on a different
yeah,
zone and music puts you in a zone where it's like, okay,
yeah. And even for me too, at that point too, it opened up different windows for me at that time because at age
mm,
14,
yeah,
you know, I was going to clubs where kids couldn't go, where at 14 years you couldn't go in there because of what I've done, I was doing,
mm-hmm,
I had the opportunity to play in clubs, the events and all that stuff. So it kind of opened up a lot of windows for me. So
mm,
it kind of it was fun for me because
So did your mom allow you to go? Because I wasn't allowed to go anywhere. I wasn't allowed to do anything. I had to come straight home,
well,
help watch my
here's
siblings.
here's the kicker to that. Your cousin, which I've known for shoots, I've been in this country now 31 years or 30 years, 30 and 31 years now. I've known your cousin most of my life being in this country.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I start playing music because,
Was it because of him, or did you
he
start before
I started
with
before,
the
but like he kind of took that part of me now and said, okay, fine, hey dude, you got a talent here.
yeah.
Let's explore it.
So what did you start with? Because we're 80s babies. A lot of
Well,
but the younger generation.
well,
I don't know if they all know about how music started, right?
here's the weirdest way how I started playing music. My mom used to have this technique, like this set. They
Mm-hmm.
had like they had the section where you had the cassette, the CD player that you put in the 5 CDs in there,
Yeah.
and then but is a technique. And then I start like monkeying around with that, pausing, recording, and start mixing up my own how I want to make a song.
So you used to use the CD and then use the cassette player to mix
Yep.
your music, and you have
Yep.
your own
And
little.
then start like, people start, oh, this sounds good. But I'm like, people don't know what I was doing was pausing, recording, and then your cousin now is the one that said, hey dude, like you could use these things like it's back as
Use what?
this man, there's old school CD players like it's just like those ones you just had.
Was it the record player?
No,
No?
CD players.
CD
The
players?
CDs, those was old school.
Not not the
Not the vinyl. If
no?
you're thinking about vinyl, not vinyl.
Okay.
Those was like old school CD players. Vinyl was always there.
Mm.
So that's how I started out. And believe it or not, my auntie that I used to live in St. Vincent with,
Mm-hmm.
it was her wedding in 1999. It was the first time I played
Yeah.
like at an event. Was her wedding,
Okay.
1999. I played at her wedding
Mm-hmm.
and was at the reception. And yeah, I still remember to this day. It was like that was that was the first thing I'd done like publicly was at her wedding at her reception. And then from there
It spiraled.
it kind of transitioned into, me going to clubs, doing corporate events, weddings and stuff like that. So it kind of so music for me was always like, okay, I enjoy it. Like that's like for want to get me happy, want to get me giddy, and like if I hear a beat and I'm like, ooh, wonder what I could mix with that. Like that's
So, like with me, in order to get you out of that funk, you play music and that takes you
yeah,
out of that funk. So it's the
music.
same
Like let's say
thing,
from like
right?
this yesterday, I'm like miserable.
Yeah.
Right, I'm in a miserable mood.
Mm-hmm.
Now I could just go put on my headphone, start mixing my music, and all of a sudden it's just like,
Yeah.
boom. It's just like,
You change your mood. You don't stay in it, which
and
is
again,
good. I mean, it's a good pointer for whoever's listening to our story. If you're in a funk or you're in a mood, play some music to change. Don't stay in that state.
yeah,
Music helps.
music is
You
like,
can also dance. I enjoy dancing. So you can also dance because it helps you. It just takes you out of that whatever funk that you're in that does not make you feel good. Don't stay in it. Analyze it. Figure out how you can change it, maybe to lessen in that time, or maybe it's just your mood. But don't stay there for too long. Put on some music and just dance. Or just play some music and just take you out of that funk.
yeah,
Because I felt that's what kind of helped me. It's just funny how we both, and you play music, I enjoy dancing.
yeah,
I haven't done it in a long time, but it's interesting. Yeah. Um,
yeah, like,
I don't I guess I can't say I don't regret how I grew up. It's just my story that does not define who we are as individuals. It just shape us to become better people, right?
oh
Like
yeah, and
whatever happens, it's like generation. I feel it's up to you to change the trajectory if you don't like something of how your parents were or how your great great grandparents were. I think it's up to us to analyze and not make an excuse and be like, well, this is how we are and that's how I'm going to be. You have to acknowledge that, hey, this is something that I don't like. This is a great trait that my parents have. I'm going to take that and go with it. This is a trait that I don't like, so I'm gonna work on it and change it. But it's not gonna be easy. We have to unlearn. I had to unlearn and learn a lot of
Oh
things.
yeah, like for me, like even
I'm still like just speaking about it, I feel like it's therapy for us to release because you're never fully healed. When you think you're healed, it's like when you're bringing up this story now, you feel like, okay, I could speak about my life, but it also brings a little tears in your eyes because that means you still have more healing to do. It's still,
for me, then again, on that note of like work, like even like that part of like like your parent, like you take what you want from take certain things from your parents. For me, I think
Mm,
one of the things that I think I inherited trait from my father was like
mhm,
his work ethic. Because like for
mhm.
me, you know, I like to I like to build. I like to do what I like to work with my hands. And for me,
You're a workaholic.
you know, yeah, you call me a workaholic, but for me, as it's like if I have free time to sit here and we're having coffee right now. Okay, cool. We're on a date right now, so that's different. But for me, if I'm sitting at home, I'm like, okay, let's get it. Something I could be doing,
Yeah.
instead of sitting here. Cool, sit down and watch a movie. Sometimes I need to do that. Like for
Yeah,
me,
it's also good to unwind and
yeah,
just
my problem, I have
y-
a hard time with that.
yeah, you need to learn to actually sit with yourself. It's okay to be bored. It's okay to sit with
What?
yourself and analyze. And I think some people like
Well,
you prefer to work so you don't have to think about
well,
certain
no, no,
things.
no. Like for me, again, when I came out here, like I moved, like again, 2008 when all of this, like when we had our first kid,
Mhm.
and then 2008 that crash happened. 2008 again. What I was doing before that was I did construction, right?
Yeah.
I did construction all the way through high school, and I worked doing restoration. So my job was to make the building look exactly the way it looked supposed to look. Without, if I could tell you did something to the building, you didn't do your job.
Okay.
So restoration was okay. We wanted to look exactly the way it was when they built it, but we don't want to tell that. We don't want to say we don't want to see that you did something to it. So I did all the way through high school, and 2008 when all of it crashed, then I had to go back to school, did my upgrading. I went back to school, did my heavy equipment plus my truck license, and then coming out here, right? Coming out to Alberta, leaving you guys in Ontario and flying out to Alberta to come to work, been in a province I've never been in before.
Mhm.
One, yeah, things kind of really changing. So, it's talking about sitting with myself,
Mhm.
coming out here,
Mhm.
I had to do a lot of that because if I was weak mentally,
Mm.
and that I probably would have quit. Leave. I spent how many years I spent out here working.
Do you feel like it's you could relate to people that actually leave their country
I
at not like a I mean, I felt like coming up here, I was able to adapt to the culture and you have one of your parents here. But how about some people who actually come here, right?
Yeah,
And they're older, they're an adult, and they leave their family behind and they're coming here.
yeah, like this.
You have to be strong. Do you feel like it's the same? Like you can relate to them
Yeah,
because you have to be strong
because
minded, right?
meant for me now it's like, and I told this before, was like it was like you is this a game, it's not a game, but it was like mentally now you have to really get mentally strong, because me leaving you and the kids, or two kids in Ontario, flying out here to a
Mhm.
place that I've never been in before, in an industry I've never been in before,
Yeah.
and working and had to deal with, and you had to, like, they use the terms tough skin. I had to
Mhm.
build tough skin because in a field that where I was working in, the majority of us was not like me.
Yeah.
I was probably on my whole in the rigs that I used to work with.
Mhm.
I was the only guy that looked like this.
Mhm.
So, you know, one of the things I noticed with that too is if you don't look like this or look like them, what they try to do now is try to bully you.
Mm.
And so I had to deal with mentally. I had to get mentally strong and physically strong because to deal with certain situation.
Yeah.
And,
I don't think I'll be able to do that.
and then certain parts of that now I had to kind of really sit with myself,
Yeah.
right? And I think when I turned 30 and I was like, I was like, well, you know what? I no longer have the I'm at a certain point now where I don't want to, instead of me getting upset and getting mad, because I had to take that time to sit with myself
Mhm.
and be okay with myself. And take a look at my, where I came from, where I'm at, and where I'm going, and I have to be okay with those things. Like, those things I can't change I can't change what happened to me in the Caribbean. I
Yeah.
can't change what happened to me when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
Now, for me now, every day from this point now, I have to make a decision on where I'm going, what I'm going to do, and who I want to become, or the better version of myself. So I can't sit here and say, okay, fine, my mom did this, my dad did this. Again, that's so for me personally, right? I can't look at what happened to me there. That's my past. That's my, that's the way I was grew up.
It's your story.
That's so for me now. I have a choice now as an adult. Okay, what do I do with myself? Do I let my past hold me there and then use that as my crutch? So I choose not to take my past and make it a crutch. Okay, that happened to me. This
What do you
happened
mean
to
a
me.
crutch?
Some people, like, again, I don't want to say some people, but we all have a tendency of, okay, this happened to me, so this is why the way I am. So I choose not to let that be
an excuse not to change,
right.
basically, right?
Because honestly, like, if I use that, I wouldn't have done the things I've done. Me and you, we owned our first business in Ontario. We've done a whole bunch of online business. We've done
Well, if you didn't, not to mean to cut you, but if you didn't come out to Alberta,
yeah,
we wouldn't have owned our first business. Not only that, I felt that I was very narrow-minded. I was very closed off to opportunities. So I felt like if you didn't come out here, which wasn't easy, we wouldn't have had our first business. I wouldn't have got into personal development. I would have still had my bad habits of, 4:30, turning on the TV, and at 4:30 p.m. turn on the TV to watch The Young and the Restless.
the normal thing. Oh, Bold and the Beautiful, Passion is on.
Actually, no. Well, those were extras, but I grew up watching The Young and the Restless from I don't even know how long. I don't even know if it's still on today, but yeah, if you didn't make the bold step to do certain things, I would have stayed in my comfort zone. You would have been in your comfort zone, and who knows where we would have been. But I still reflect on today when you came out here in 2012. We were supposed to come with you, right?
Yeah.
But I still had that closed mindset of not going with my gut and not having that strong belief to believe in myself to know, okay, this is your family's plan. And when you have a family, your family comes first, right? Before everyone else. But because I had this mentality that, okay, my friends and my family and my siblings, they live in Toronto. I don't want to come out here to live in Alberta.
Well,
so I felt that held me back for how long?
I was out here, what, 2012?
The goal was for you to come settle and then me and the kids move. But we didn't move out. We didn't decide. I didn't make this decision until 2017.
2017 when I was coming back out here, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, I'm not doing it. I'm like, I'm not doing this anymore. I can't.
So, yeah.
But I just felt like I'm not going to beat myself over it. But sometimes when you make a decision, you make a plan, if you don't follow through, there's consequences.
Oh, well, we did pay some of the consequences.
There's consequences because I felt like we would have been, because sometimes I feel where you grow up, you cannot always stay there, your surroundings, the people that you grew up with, when your mindset has shifted, they're going to say a lot of things. They're not going to be happy with it. Just like when we had our first business, we told our family, but they're like, there's no excitement to it. But I feel like if you want to grow, sometimes you need to take yourself out of that comfort zone of the known and go into the unknown and put your head down and do what you have to do. Because I felt like I could have been further ahead, but I was distracted with friends and family and, the kids and just being around.
Yeah, you wanted to be in Toronto.
My comfort zone, You
wanted to be in Toronto.
But going back to that, I felt that we had kids early and I had to grow up really fast. I had to mature at a younger age. I didn't have a choice. I had to, because I had to watch my siblings. Not only that, I felt like it was me against the world growing up with my mom and my stepdad.
Mhm.
So I didn't really enjoy being a child at the age of 8. So I felt like when we had kids, I felt like I still needed to enjoy my life, you know?
Yeah.
Go to the parties that I wasn't allowed to go to as a teenager because I didn't leave my mom's house till I was 19.
Yeah.
So from up until then, I mean, here and there, my older sister, she used to take me out to what do you call it in the summertime? The day clubs. What do you used to call them again? We used to go out on a Sunday, and it used to be from like 6 to like 12 or whatever. So sometimes she used to sneak me.
Well, those used to be like, I think those was all age parties.
Art, yes, the all age
All age
party.
parties.
But
Yeah.
I didn't start doing that till I was 17.
Cool.
And then, yeah, she used to sneak me. But other than that, I wasn't really allowed to do anything. I was home. I wasn't allowed to go anywhere. But I can give my mom props too, because at 11, she stopped doing my hair. And when she stopped doing my hair, I had to learn to do my hair myself.
Yeah.
So because she stopped doing my hair, I was able to do my hair myself. So, I just take that as
Well,
I'm not beating her up over it. It's just she stopped doing my hair and I was able to learn to do
But
hair myself. I also did it as a hustle in high school. That's how I
like,
made my little money
yeah.
on the side. I used to braid people's hair and I did my own. And even now today, I do my hair myself.
Mm-hmm.
And people always compliment me like, how did you do that? I'm like, I learned when I was 11.
Yeah, I can't do that.
But
I'm trying to.
also, still healing last year is when I realized I didn't have the confidence within myself to believe I could have taken this, how do you call it? This gift that I had and turn it into a business at an earlier age. But I didn't believe I
It's
could
called
do it.
distractions.
No, it wasn't distractions. It was not distractions. I did a course with the Millionaire Bestie, and it was called Me versus Me, right? So there was certain questions that I had to go through that made you realize that you're the only one who's holding yourself back from living your full potential, because we never were, even though you have a business today and you are who you are, you're still not living your full potential. There's always so much more you can do, so much more you can learn. But doing that course last year, I believe in November, made me realize that I've held myself back and it wasn't my fault. I just had to analyze that certain things that was said to you as a child affects you as an adult. And you play those things in your mind. Like my mom used to call me slow because I used to be the last one on the table to eat. And that that word alone, I didn't realize it was not my own.
Yeah.
So that's something I kept repeating to myself. Oh, I'm slow, whatever the case may be. So I didn't believe in my full potential, where I could have taken this skill that I had and I could have had a business. I could have had a start doing hair, braiding hair. So sometimes I feel
Hold on.
that
Was it the last year me and my two other friends was telling me we're gonna help you open up a store and you got scared about it?
yeah, I got scared because I felt like I didn't feel even though I do my own hair, I still feel I wasn't capable enough of doing other people's hair to take their money. Even though I did it in high school, that was a start. But sometimes you're so blind with your troubles, you don't see your potential or where you can go with that gift
Mm-hmm.
that you have. Even with you when it comes to music, but I was scared, but sometimes I feel like you have to do it scared. So
Yeah. Well, how much times you made me do things even when I'm scared about it? Huh? When I used to do all my live streaming and stuff like
I
that,
know. I'm good at giving
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
good at giving advice, but I don't take my own, which is really bad. But it comes with the belief. So now that I know certain things, certain words that I'm using to stop myself and hold myself back from accomplishing certain things, it's not my own to keep. It's not mine. So I had to let that go. It took me a while and I was so angry because when I analyzed it, I'm like, all these years.
Yeah, just It's just today I was just like, just thinking about stuff, and I was just like, yep.
You go through, you have your moments when you just, you analyze your life and you just go through the phases of where you've been, but you can't stay there, right?
Yeah.
Where you've come from, which allowed you to be the person that you are today, knowing that you are capable of so much more, right?
And first city, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, this actually, yeah, one actually, yes.
Yeah, like I was saying, it's good to reflect. It's a great reflection to just look back to see where you came from. But you know, okay, I'm not gonna stay there because
Yes.
that's
Nope.
just my story, which shape you into becoming the person that you are today. But at 30, 36, to realize that certain things that your parents say to you can make you or break you if you're not aware of it.
Yep.
And those words alone of me being slow, it broke me.
Yep.
And I didn't live my full potential as I should have. Not really live my full potential. I was capable of so much more, but I just didn't believe in myself because of that, the words that were behind me. But I'm glad that I was able to do that course, the me versus me, because at the end of the day, regardless if you're with somebody, it's a partnership, but at the end of the day, you still have your own journey.
Yep.
You are your own individual. So it's up to you to analyze certain things and believe in yourself to say, okay, I'm gonna do this regardless. I'm gonna do this scared. So you face your fear and you do it regardless, but certain things that you know that is not your own, that was just ingrained into your mindset, that is not your own and it doesn't serve you for your better good, you let it go.
Like for me right now, I wouldn't say I do things. I wouldn't say I do scared. And like for me,
I feel we do a lot of things scared. Like I feel a lot of things that we have done, if we asked for a lot of people's opinion, we would have never been where we are today.
Well, one, we picked up our whole family and moved out to Alberta.
That was scary.
Right? We moved out here.
That was scary in itself, but I felt it's funny how when you came out here 2012, you went through your whole sitting with yourself. When we came out here in 2017 is when I did my healing journey of stepping away from certain things that I felt no longer served me. I had to do my own healing as well because you still was out in the oil field working for 20 days and home for 10.
Yeah.
So it's funny how our stories intertwine, how we grew up. When we came up here, the life that we live, not really having a great relationship with our parents because they went through their own trauma. But I just hope them going through their own traumas to not beat themselves over mistreating their children, but to heal from what they've been through as children, knowing that we're okay. We're just telling our story so that way we can hopefully help other people tell their story and not stay stuck in what they've been through, but to help them maybe healing, speaking about it and analyzing your life and maybe looking at the gift that you have that you can use, that you can share with the world to help you get further along in life. And I just hope our parents don't beat themselves up in this age thinking that, hey, I didn't do the best that I can. You did the best that you know how to. But I just hope in this age you can just forgive yourself and not hold on to, I shoulda, coulda, woulda. We're grown adults and it's up to us to make that change for ourselves because at the end of the day, it's me versus me, right? And it's you versus you.
Yeah.
And then we come together as a couple and work together in partnership to make our lives better, not only our lives, but for our kids too, right?
Like whatever we do, like whatever, like as I said, whatever I'm doing now, it's
Mhm.
you know, it may not impact for me like like my past is my past.
Mhm.
That gave me the drive to do what I'm doing today.
Right.
You know, what I'm doing now, it's not gonna affect me fully, but my goal is for like my business and all the stuff that I'm creating and all the communities I'm working with
Mhm.
is to that impacts my kids' life, my community's life, and my kids' life. That's what I'm looking for, right? It's whatever I do now.
So generational wealth.
You could call it generational wealth, but it's just whatever I do now. It impacts not just my life now, but my kids' life, my
Mhm.
kids' life, and also my community surrounding me. So that's
Right.
why for me, I I make a decision was it last year to start joining working with my community around me where
Wow.
help build my community and do do things that one is going to benefit my kids but benefit my community and benefit again. I'm sorry to say, but it's part of it too, selfish too, it benefits me too. I'm not going to sit here, but also benefits everybody.
Right.
So for me, our business and all of that stuff is just to help the community build community and again build our family, right? So no.
Well, you see a need and you fill it, right?
Yeah.
So
um
you're providing a service
yeah, so for
that
me,
people actually need.
I see some cool things doing that though.
Mhm.
I go to get to go to some cool places. So
You mean different people, different
oh
walks of life.
yeah, I made some cool clips
Yeah,
what
it's
I'm doing
interesting
now.
sometimes working with you, people are so welcoming. And most of the time I do not come into the home unless you need me to bring a tool or you need my help in hand. But it's interesting how some people are so friendly
Yeah.
and they're so open to have you into their home, and then just the conversations that you have where you can relate, or an advice that they can give you to become a better person,
Yeah.
It's
Well, they do say sometimes, what is it? Take a walk in somebody's shoes, but I can't walk in anybody's shoes, but listen to people speak
Mhm.
and you know getting different what's the word I'm looking for? View on life.
Yeah.
It's good to be around different people.
Well, their perspective.
There's perspective
Yeah.
on life. I enjoy it. Like what I do now.
Mhm.
I offer service to people. I go into their houses and I help them with their fixing their equipments and stuff in their house. Meet cool
You
people.
meet their appliances.
I meet directors that work in Hollywood.
Mhm.
I meet guys that race car for a living for
Mhm.
20 years. I meet multimillionaires doing what I do.
Mhm.
It's cool.
Yeah.
So I enjoy what I do now, and that by enjoying that, it actually introduced me to a lovely lady here in Red Deer here too. We help
Zanav's coffee.
and
We're at her shop today. It's called Zanav's coffee house.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we're working with her, and it's man, I love it.
Mhm.
It
But I felt like when we moved to Red Deer, we we were open to making friends with people, but I've noticed people who are more friendly were people who are not from Alberta itself. It was more people from BC, Toronto, whatever the case may be. And then we run through some, you're not going to get along with everybody. So that kind of made me pull back a little bit and just stayed in my bubble, which I shouldn't have done. I should have came out and mingle more and come out to meet more people, because you meet a lot of interesting people.
oh uh, again, like I said, me being an oil patch,
Hmm.
you deal with that.
Yeah.
But it's just the way some people grow up, and you gotta leave. That's the way they grow up.
Yeah.
And again, doing what I do now, I go into houses where I go cut people are happy to see me, and some people is just like because I can't do nothing about the equipment.
Yeah.
They're not mad. They're mad, but then again, I don't think it's a mad at me. It's just
Yeah.
the news that they're looking for me to give them. It wasn't the news that they got, so it's just like right. Not everybody you're gonna please, and
Hmm.
the ones that you could definitely help, you help, and the ones that okay, sorry, but this is what you have to do. Sorry, but there's not no on me. It's just right. So
Yeah. Um, so us living in Alberta, do you feel that we'll be living here for the rest of our lives?
I definitely see Alberta somewhere I will.
Call home.
I'll call home.
Do you feel like you would go back to Toronto and live, or just to visit?
Honestly, Toronto's freaking expensive.
Not only
I
expensive.
I
I
think
don't
honestly,
see
even
it as
if I had
that.
even if I had the money to go back to Ontario to live,
Yeah.
like look around. Like I could go to Edmonton,
Mm-hmm.
I could go to Calgary, I could go 3 hours 3 hours west, and I could be beside the mountains. I could be hiking up in the mountains. I could go so for me, saying I'm gonna move back to Toronto or I'll go back to Ontario to live.
How about the Caribbean?
Well, there's only one place, only one Caribbean I want to live in. I don't know if it's a Caribbean, but I already told you that, right? Costa Rica.
Yeah, that's part of the Caribbean.
That's the only place.
So you also honestly don't see yourself moving back to your
To my
St. Vincent?
to my home country?
No.
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 That's where I came from,
Yeah.
but that's not where I want to go back to.
Yeah.
I see myself going to, like I always tell you this,
Yeah.
Costa Rica.
Yeah, it's
I don't know why Costa Rica just have that. There's this. I don't know. There's just something about Costa Rica.
Well, you better figure it out before you decide and be like, okay, we're moving to Costa Rica, or we're going there for 6
I
months
think
out of
because
the year.
I've seen a lot of videos on Costa Rica, and there's like the living there, and there's like the tropical, and it's like the same thing, right? Live in Alberta, the
Mhm.
mountains are there, and I think in Costa Rica is like the mountains are there too. So I think that's kind of is attractive to me. Is like the
Right. So you don't miss Lake Ontario?
no.
No. You know, sometimes honestly in the summertime, I enjoy the Rocky Mountains in Alberta. It's like a getaway from your norm, where you live, your surrounding, your house, your issues, whatever the case may be. So it's like when you go to the mountain, it's like a meditative state. It puts you in a meditative state. But in the summertime when it's nice and hot, I do miss the lakes, going to the lakes with the kids.
Yeah, that.
I mean, we have lakes here, but it doesn't compare to, I guess we're
Right,
spoiled.
yeah,
Because growing up
yeah.
in Durham, you know, I used to take the kids to Oshawa Lake. Tomorrow we'll be like, okay, we went to Oshawa Lake today. Then tomorrow we'll go to Whidbey Lake, and then the next day we'll go to Pickering Lake, or we'll go to Ajax. Or you know, if we're if we go down to Toronto to visit family, then you know you take the kids to Lake Ontario.
Yeah.
So you win some, you lose some. But even growing up in the Caribbean too, we had in Grenada, we had a nice where my grandmother lived was up the hill. So we had this beautiful view of
Mhm.
the ocean and the point of the island. So the ocean is here. And then the point of the island, the beginning of the island where you see the planes come in and land, it makes you appreciate where you come from.
I don't know.
That beautiful view, I miss the beach.
I
I don't think I would ever, someone coming from the tropics, the Caribbean, I don't think I would ever get used to the Canadian winter. The summer is too short. So I feel like eventually it'd be nice to move somewhere where, at least for 6 months,
well,
where it's hot.
that's
'Cause that's
the
something
plan.
that's I miss that. Like, you know, you grew up in the sun, you know, the beach was,
Yeah.
what is it called? 5 minutes away, walking distance. That's something that you miss.
That's for you, not for me.
Well, for me, because on the weekends, I look forward to my grandmother taking us to the beach, and she was teaching us how to swim, and we had that beautiful view. But as a child growing up in Toronto, you don't really see those things until you're in adulthood, and you're like, the winter, it never gets better. I never look forward to it. And
Oh.
I just missed that environment. Not to say that I want to go back and live there.
Suck her up. We're getting close to winter again.
I know. Not to say that I want to go back and live there. I don't see myself moving back home to live, just to visit, but it makes you appreciate where you come from.
Oh, yeah.
Like this, I'm a
But
town girl.
But see the same thing with that too, right?
Yeah.
Say the same thing. You appreciate where you come from.
Yeah.
So you gotta appreciate the experience that you had too.
The
Because
experience that came with it, right?
So all those things you have to appreciate, and that's kind of what I said. For
Mhm.
me, all those things that happened in my past, I appreciate them because that developed the person I am today,
Mhm.
and give me that drive to keep pushing, even when things don't seem to go it's not going my way.
Yeah.
Just keep going.
Even when things don't go your way, or you have a hiccup, you know, a lot of the times people give up easily, but you have to have that mindset to be like, okay, you have a hiccup. Those are pivotal moments that it's a learning experience where you could say, okay, what can I do better in order to move forward? what do I need to learn? And I think that goes back to when you had that time where you were down. It's those moments
Let's call it what it is.
when you went.
That's the date.
Well, we didn't know when you
Well,
when you went through your depression.
mhm.
Those times made us analyze and have that mindset to realize, okay, in that time, a lot of things went upside down. But those moments, it's not for you to stay there. It's for you to analyze and realize, okay, what can I do better to move forward and not stay there?
Yeah.
You know, those are the valuable lessons that you learn, not when things are good, but when things don't go the way as planned. It's those times you have to question yourself and ask, what can I do to make it better, to move forward? Or what do I need to learn? What lessons do I need to learn in this moment?
Yeah.
What do I need to change in order to move forward,
Oh, yeah.
right?
And even when I went through that moment, there was a lot of lessons there because, and as I said, like, I don't know, I think I told this already. Like, even for me, when all that was happening,
Mm-hmm.
my grandmother passed away how many years ago before
Yeah.
I came to Canada,
Yeah.
and in my all I could hear in my back of my head was like, even when I was going through like my depression, like I don't know it was depression until I was coming out of it. And
Mm-hmm.
the person that, well, my mentor in Toronto, in Montreal, he was like, "Hey, dude, something's up with you. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna book a ticket. I'm gonna fly out here."
Yeah.
And when he came out, he's when I realized I was actually in depression,
But were you coming out?
and I was coming out of it.
So do you feel us having Liam
Well,
helped in
even
that
him
sense
too,
too?
but it's just like all I could hear in my back of my mind, back of my mind or back of my head, but all I could hear is this little voice in my back saying, "Hey, as long as you keep going,
Mm-hmm.
things will get better." And for me, that's all I kept on hearing. And I got up every day at 4 o'clock in the morning. I went jogging, I went walking, I did something, and that kept me going. And when I was coming out of it is when I realized I was freaking depressed.
Yeah.
And my mentor caught that. He's like, "Hey, dude, like, you're off.
Yeah.
Something off." Then he's like, "I'm gonna book a ticket. I'm flying out this weekend to come see you and spend a weekend with you."
Mm-hmm. And he also helped us with the business
And
that we're doing too.
there's so much experience I have, like so much things that happen, and like people that's done for me, and that's kind of why I said like my mentor, he's helped our family
Tremendously.
tremendously, and I wouldn't want to say I want to say more than my family, but at my adult age, he's done a tremendous stuff for me. I met him when we meet him, 2014 was when we met him.
2014?
Yeah,
Yeah.
10
When you did the
when we did
Toronto,
the franchise show.
yeah,
So I met him,
the business franchise
right?
expo in
So
Toronto, yeah.
he's done so much for me, and that's like, son, that's kind of for what he's done for me. And one of the things he always said to me, get out of your way,
Mm-hmm.
and because sometimes we're the problem.
Mm-hmm.
We always want to stay in our own way.
Mm.
Oh, I want this way. And that's like, for me, it's just like, no, get out your own way. Do things that are actually going to benefit your community, and things will start coming back to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I see today, like working with the Afro-Caribbean Center and stuff like that, working with Zenab Coffee Shop and stuff like that. I see things coming back to me,
Our
but
first year helping with an event
yeah. So
to
like
bring to bring your city together
and doing that was just like,
yeah.
okay, weird, you know. So getting out your own way sometimes and doing things to help your community, think it benefits you in the end.
Mhm.
It may not benefit you in the way you want it to, but I see it coming back to me in different ways.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm happy to do what I'm doing because someone took the chance on me and helped me. They didn't have to help me.
Yeah.
They didn't have to take and say, "Hey, dude, I'm gonna mentor you. I'm gonna show you what you could do to make your life better,
Mm-hmm.
make your life easier, and a way to grow your life." That person never had to do that because they did it. They're multimillionaire. They didn't have to do it.
Yeah.
But he took the time with me and said, "Hey, I'm gonna show you what to do." And today, I'm sitting here and I'm doing the things that he's teaching me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing,
So are you paying it forward?
and that's kind of why I'm doing. That's what I said. Now, what I'm doing with the helping the Afro-Caribbean Center and stuff like that, and donating my time,
Mm-hmm.
is because now I'm not looking for money back because that will come back in a different way. For me now, is just down the road, things will start happening for me, but at the same time, I'm paying that forward back to help my community, build my community, and build surrounding communities and helping, right?
Mm-hmm.
And any way I could help, that's where I'm at right now.
Okay.
So you know,
It's an interesting journey.
for me,
But
it's
it's been great, you know. Every day above ground is a great day. Thank God we got to see another day, you know.
yeah.
Not
And
everybody got
again,
to
we're
see another day today,
what
and
we're 17. Me and you 17 years together. So what?
celebrating 17 years together. Damn, that's a long
So
time.
like
That's a long time.
that's a long time when we have two big ass kids and then one small one. But again,
Mm.
right? 17.
Babe, what were we thinking? We have a 5-year-old.
That was you, not me. I had nothing to do with that. You had baby fever.
Do you want to do it again?
No, I'm good. I don't want no more kids. I don't want no more.
It'll be the icing on the cake for a 17-year anniversary. I'm just
What?
joking. I'm joking.
You yeah, no.
I'm joking.
No, I'm good. 17 years and again, 16-year-old, 14-year-old, 5-year-old.
Yeah.
I love it. And, doing the business and helping my community and doing all that stuff. Some days I'm busy, some days I get home at 10 o'clock in the night. But again, it's all for the better and it's all for better cause.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, let's hope that our kids will fulfill that legacy and
Well, that's what my company's called, Legacy.
take on the business and go into the trade, or even add on to the trade that you're doing, whether it's a plumber, electrician.
I want them to do what they want to do, but at the same time, I want them to do something that's
what they want to do, which is this.
It's gonna not just thinking about okay, now think about down the road. Because again, if I was thinking about now, if I was thinking only about now, one, I would have never come to Alberta. First of all, I would have never purchased the first business. So I wasn't thinking about now. I'm thinking about right down the road.
Right.
So, my journey, all the ups, downs, and all the sacrifices we had to make, me coming out here and doing what we're doing, even again, doing what I'm doing right now is a sacrifice because I still work full time, I still do the business full time, and I still make time to help my community. So all of that is sacrifice. All of that is for the end goal.
Yeah.
So
and I sacrifice staying at home with our children and homeschooling.
Well, yeah, you're full time home. So
and helping you with the business as your secretary, or I should say sexy-tary.
Whichever way you want to go with it. But again, right? But again, we could always sit and say, oh, poor me.
Yeah.
Or do.
Yeah.
And for me, I can't sit still.
Yeah.
Like, for me sitting here right now, I'm like, okay, we're having a conversation. I'm like, okay, cool. But it's just like, I can't sit.
Yeah.
And I can't use the word I can't sit. It's just if I have idle time, I prefer use that idle time to be productive.
Yeah. So do you feel that this is it? This is a plateau, or do you feel like
No.
Do you feel like there's more? There's more growing to do, there's more leveling up, there's something else. I mean, you're always doing something. You're always learning something else, you know? If you can name all the things that you've gone through or what you've done, your skill set, do you feel that okay, I'm gonna stop here, or do you feel like
No, we've been together 17 years.
Yeah.
Excuse me. For one, I like taking risks. I didn't get where I'm at by not taking risks, right? And I not risk say okay if I do something it's gonna hurt somebody. Calculated risk. Okay, for me it's okay. Do I ventures in this or do I stay away from it?
Right.
So that's kind of risk I'm talking about. Not
So you're open-minded to you're gonna always be open-minded to other opportunities that could propel you and help you to become a better individual, not only financially but mentally,
I'm not.
right?
If I was always looking at the financial game, I'd probably do a lot more risky things. I'm not always looking at the financial game. I'm looking at what I do today.
That's important too.
Well, the financial. I'm saying, if you're just looking at for me, if I'm just looking at the financial game, there's things I might do that might not be beneficial to you and the kids.
Right.
But if I'm taking calculated risks, that I know, okay, me doing this helps my family, helps my kids, helps you, helps the kids, help my community. That's calculated risk, and that's what I'm talking about. Me, I don't have a problem taking risks. Right? I don't take any risks that are gonna put my family in a situation that I can't get out of.
Right.
So those are calculated risks I take, and you've known that all the time. Where you be like, oh, I don't think we should. I'm like, I think we should.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
right?
I think that's what completes how we complement each other is wherever I'm weak, you're strong.
Yeah.
Wherever you're weak,
Well, I'm weak in a lot of places.
I'm strong. So it's complementary, which is good. You know,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, well, all
But I
right.
guess I'm grateful that you've been together for this long, went through this journey together of growing
Yeah.
and healing, and grateful for our parents, because if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have been here today. If we didn't come, if we didn't come to Canada, we would not have been together today. So we're grateful for the journey and the people who brought us here, who we call our parents.
Yeah. So
So
just
cheers.
cheers to that.